In the vast, silent expanse where fate and defiance intertwine, the path of cultivation grows ever more treacherous. The heavens remain indifferent, different, yet one man continues to challenge their will, step by step, breath by breath. Previously, Wang Lin walked deeper into the storm of karma and conflict, his enemies closing in like shadows at dusk. Ancient forces stir, old grudges resurface, and the fragile balance between life and death teeters on the edge of collapse. Each decision he makes ripples through the void, drawing him closer to a truth that may shatter everything he has fought to protect. Now, as we enter, recap. Renegade Immortal Chapter 792, 793, the tension thickens like gathering thunderclouds. What secrets lie hidden within this unfolding struggle? What price must be paid for power that defies the heavens? The tale continues, and the next step may be his most dangerous yet. Before the heavens could settle, before even the winds dared to breathe, a silent transformation had already begun within Wang Lin. He felt it, not through sight, not through sound, but through something far deeper. A realization slowly took shape in his heart. As the mysterious old man's origin soul seized control of his body and unleashed spell after spell, Wang Lin noticed something peculiar. The old man did not rely heavily on his own origin energy. No, only a sliver of it was used. The rest was drawn directly from the surrounding world. It was as if the heavens themselves were lending their power. This method, it stirred a memory within Wang Lin. It resembled that terrifying technique capable of extracting souls from all living things. Yet, it was not the same. No, this was something far more profound, a deeper truth hidden beneath layers of mystery. Wang Lin's mind raced to comprehend it, but there was a barrier. A thin, nearly imperceptible veil stood before him, blocking his understanding. No matter how he grasped at it, he could not break through. And yet, there was no time to dwell. The old man's control surged forward, carrying Wang Lin's body through the void at terrifying speed. But amidst this motion, Wang Lin sensed something chilling. The old man's origin soul was fading. Rapidly, in the span of what would be half an incense stick of time, more than half of that ancient soul had already dissipated into nothingness. The price was clear. Every burst of speed, every movement was paid for with the old man's very essence. Wang Lin could no longer even comprehend how fast they were moving. Space no longer existed beneath his feet. Instead, it felt as if he was stepping across time itself. Everything stretched, everything blurred. The world became endless, distorted, like an illusion beyond comprehension. And yet, this illusion was the only way Wang Lin could describe such speed. There was a reason he could endure it. Deep within him, Wang Lin had already grasped a fragment of something extraordinary. The art of spatial bending, a technique reserved for those who had stepped beyond the ordinary path of cultivation. Although he could not merge with the world as naturally as the old man, who did so as effortlessly as breathing, Wang Lin could still invoke it, given time and preparation. Had he not grasped this concept, had he remained at the corporeal yang stage without this insight, then at this very moment, his origin soul would have shattered under the strain. At best, he would have suffered devastating injury. At worst, he would have been erased entirely. Even now, with his understanding, he could feel the limits approaching. His origin soul trembled, pushed to the brink by the relentless passage through this state. Under the old man's control, Wang Lin's body never once separated from the world. It was as though his entire being, body and soul alike, had been broken down into countless particles, each one blending into the fabric of existence. This was the essence of merging with the world, to become one with it, to reach any place in an instant. And yet, even this had its limits. If it did not, then the old man would not need to rush like this. He would simply appear. But that was not the case. For Wang Lin, this brief half-incensed stick of time felt like 100 years of suffering. Within those endless moments, he was battered by a storm beyond imagination, a storm that sought to tear him apart, to shred him, piece by piece. He struggled, desperately, clinging to his existence as the storm howled around him. The pain, it was unbearable. Yet within that pain lurked an unimaginable opportunity. As his origin soul fought against annihilation, something began to change. His understanding deepened. His connection to the world grew stronger, more real, more undeniable, until at last it carved itself into his very being, an imprint that would never fade. Had other cultivators witnessed this moment, they would have been driven into madness with desire. Because for those who had stepped into the second stage of cultivation, there were only two paths forward: origin energy and the comprehension of laws, to understand the laws, to control them, to wield them. Yet, these concepts were too abstract, too elusive to grasp directly. Thus, merging with the world became a bridge, a way to approach the Tao itself. Through unity with the world, one could glimpse the hidden laws that governed everything. And now, without intention, without even realizing it, the mysterious old man was forcing this opportunity upon Wang Lin. It was as though a pair of invisible hands gripped his origin soul, dragging it into the depths of the world. The pain was real, but so were the rewards. Wang Lin's origin soul grew ever closer to the world, so close, it was as if he had always belonged to it. At the same time, his domain began to shift. His karma domain stirred, reaching outward, testing itself against the great Tao of karma that governed the heavens. Even his physical body was not spared from transformation. After the earlier cleansing, his origin energy had already fused with his flesh. Now, under prolonged immersion within the world, his body followed the same path as his soul. It began to integrate, to merge, to dissolve. But this was not destruction. No, this was something far stranger. His physical form broke apart, scattered into nothingness. Yet he did not die, because in this state he could be reborn, reformed, anywhere, as long as he remained merged with the world. And because he remained in this state for so long, something extraordinary occurred. His body absorbed the power of the world's origin energy. Every muscle, every drop of blood, every fragment of his existence was infused with it. Of course, none of this was intentional. The old man had not planned any of it. Had Wang Lin not met all the necessary conditions, then the moment the old man's soul left his body, Wang Lin would have died, his origin soul collapsing into nothing. But fate had aligned, and now the two figures, Wang Lin and the evil youth, tore through the world like streaks of lightning. Until at last, they arrived at the northernmost edge of the Thunder Celestial Realm, a broken fragment of a once glorious domain. In that instant, Wang Lin's body reappeared, and at the same time, the old man's origin soul finally dissipated completely. Gone without a trace. Control returned. Instantly, Wang Lin's eyes sharpened. A familiar sense flooded his being. Without hesitation, he acted. The origin energy within him surged outward through every pore. It spiraled, forming a violent vortex, and then it exploded. Using the force of that collapse, Wang Lin shot backward at full speed. At the exact same moment, the evil youth appeared. His hand reached out, but the explosion struck it first, grasping at nothing but empty air. Wang Lin did not pause. He fled without hesitation. As he moved, a celestial sword appeared in his grasp. With a flick, 8 heavenly chops erupted around him. Crack, crack, crack! The air shattered. Invisible forces that sought to imprison him were torn apart. His expression turned cold, grim. He accelerated further. He had learned his lesson once before. He would not be trapped again. Behind him, the evil youth's gaze darkened. He glanced around at the shattered fragments of the realm. A frown creased his brow. This place, his voice echoed softly, yet carried an ancient weight. This was once the imperial capital of the Thunder Celestial Realm. The very core of its power, the closest point to the ancient celestial realm before everything collapsed. He paused, eyes narrowing. Legend says when the ancient celestial realm still stood, this was where the ancient celestials descended. Silence lingered. Then his gaze sharpened with suspicion. That man, the one who wields the power of a celestial lord, what is he truly seeking here? The winds howled and the mystery deepened. The heavens trembled, and death descended in a streak of crimson light. Far above the shattered land, the sinister youth narrowed his gaze. His thoughts stilled, then hardened. At last, he lifted his right hand. With a single, casual motion, he pointed toward Wang Lin in the distance. In that instant, a sphere of blood-red light burst into existence. Within it, countless razor-thin threads twisted and wove together, condensing with terrifying speed. The air trembled. The light intensified. Then, it shot forward like a bolt of judgment, tearing through the sky straight toward Wang Lin. A chill exploded across Wang Lin's entire body. Every hair stood on end. His heart sank as a curse echoed silently in his mind. If not for that mysterious old man, he would have escaped long ago. But now, the blood body was gone, and with it, his final path of retreat. The approaching red light carried the scent of annihilation. Wang Lin clenched his teeth. There was no more running. In that split second of clarity, he turned sharply and spat out the fragment stamp. The ancient artifact flew forward, positioning itself between him and the incoming attack. The moment the crimson light struck it, the entire stamp began to tremble violently. It quivered, shook, as if it would shatter at any moment, but it did not break. It endured. Yet from within it, a terrifying force erupted outward. That force slammed directly into Wang Lin's body. His face instantly lost all color. A mouthful of blood burst from his lips as his body was thrown backward by the impact. But the assault did not end. The energy pierced through the fragment stamp like waves crashing through a broken dam. One surge after another struck Wang Lin's body. He coughed blood once, then again, then a third time, each impact heavier than the last. Yet, his eyes burned with ferocity. "It's not that easy to kill me." His voice rang with defiance. With one hand gripping the fragment stamp, his other hand slapped his bag of holding. At once, a shimmering screen appeared before him. The moment it emerged, the screen trembled violently. Then, the world changed. Mountains rose, rivers flowed. The heavens and earth themselves transformed into a vast painting. The mountain and river painting unfolded, blanketing everything. A majestic force surged from within the painting. Standing upon it, Wang Lin felt the crushing pressure aimed at him dissolve. The incoming power weakened, scattered, vanished. At the same time, the strength of the painting surged into the fragment stamp, clashing against the invading force within it and neutralizing it completely. Mountain and river painting. The evil youth's eyes narrowed sharply, but only for a breath. Then he sneered. A worthless imitation. Without hesitation, he raised his hand and slashed downward. A crisp, tearing sound echoed. The fabric of reality twisted. The painted world distorted, shattered. Wang Lin's body was forcibly expelled from the painting. His face turned deathly pale. The moment he reappeared in the real world, he did not hesitate. He retreated instantly. "Back then, I studied the real mountain and river painting for 1,000 years, the youth said coldly. Even if you possessed the true artifact, with your mere upper celestial cultivation, I could still tear it apart." With that, he stepped forward, ready to pursue, but he stopped. His gaze shifted downward. His expression changed. The fragment beneath them began to tremble. Not just a portion, the entire fragment. It shook violently as though the world itself had become unstable. Mountains crumbled, peaks collapsed into dust. It was as if an invisible, colossal hand was grinding everything flat. Then, the fragment rose. It shot upward with terrifying speed. In an instant, it surged toward the evil youth. His pupils shrank. Without hesitation, he flew upward to avoid it. As for Wang Lin, he withdrew his treasures without delay. His figure retreated swiftly, but his eyes remained calm. He did not even glance at the rising fragment. Instead, as he moved, he began to merge with the surrounding world. Then, a deafening roar echoed across the distance. One roar, then another, then countless more. Thunder beasts. Their cries shook the heavens. At the edges of the fragment, the chains binding it began to rattle violently. Each chain held a thunder beast. Each beast roared as it exerted its strength, pulling, dragging, lifting. This fragment was not rising on its own. It was being raised by countless thunder beasts, and it was not alone. Across the thunder celestial realm, 49 fragments trembled simultaneously. Nearly 40% of the entire realm, all of them rising. From above, the fragments formed an immense formation, a pattern vast beyond imagination. The fragment where Wang Lin and the evil youth stood lay at its center, the shape a blooming plum blossom. Each fragment was connected by chains, each chain pulled by a roaring thunder beast. Their combined strength lifted the fragments into the sky. The sound of chains straining, the cries of beasts became the only sound left in the celestial realm. Then they began to rotate. The outer 48 fragments circled the central one, slowly at first, but gradually faster, faster, faster still. The chains linking the outer fragments strained, then snapped. Nothing remained to restrain the motion. Soon their speed rivaled that of a cultivator in flight. The rotation intensified, a vortex formed, massive, boundless, devouring. Mountains collapsed across all 49 fragments. The violent shaking spread through the entire thunder celestial realm. Everything changed. At the center of the rotation, a gigantic void opened, a hole of unimaginable size, Within it, a suction force beyond comprehension. Under its pull, the entire realm trembled, and then it began to collapse. Not a single fragment, not a small region, but the entire Thunder Celestial realm. This was the second great collapse in its history. The first had shattered it into fragments. This was the beginning of its destruction. Cracks tore across the sky, endless fractures spread like spiderwebs. From within them, freezing winds howled, more cracks appeared, expanding, splitting, breaking everything apart. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. All cultivators within the realm were seized by terror beyond words. Even the evil youth stood stunned. He had not expected this, not in his wildest thoughts. Using the fragments to form a formation. His voice turned low. No, this is more than a formation. A realization struck him. His breath caught. Could it be he intends to refine the entire Thunder Celestial realm into a magical treasure? He inhaled sharply. Even with his composure, a single thought echoed within him. Madman. Wang Lin, too, was shaken to the core. The sounds of collapsing space thundered endlessly around him. It felt as if countless fragments were colliding together. He slowed his retreat. All around him, cracks opened, devouring destructive force. The scene caused his mind to tremble. His scalp tingled with dread. Then, a burst of arrogant laughter rang out across the collapsing heavens. The mysterious old man appeared. His eyes gleamed with wild excitement. I have entered this celestial realm hundreds of times, he declared. I have planned this for tens of thousands of years. His voice thundered with pride. In this world, who else possesses such courage? To refine the celestial realm itself, to scheme against the mighty celestial lord Qing Shui. He laughed loudly. Who else dares? His gaze swept across the crumbling world. This old man will take half of the Thunder Celestial realm and forge it into a supreme treasure. Then, within the all-heaven star system, who could possibly stand against me? His voice rose higher. With this power, I will break open the spatial barrier. From that day forward, the all-heaven star system will no longer need the all-heaven stone to enter the alliance star system. His expression turned cold, filled with ancient hatred. Master Zhang Shen, when I was forced to leave, I swore one day I would return, and I would lead millions of cultivators to crush the Cultivation Alliance. His laughter echoed endlessly as the world itself continued to fall apart.